Hey again, my lovelies. Second video of the night, and this one's just some questions that I've been asking on my Facebook group, and I have some people who have said that they will answer them as well. And I wanted to put these questions to you guys so that possibly you can help others here, and maybe some of my friends over on my Facebook group will answer these as well, and we can share these together. Once again, if you haven't already done so but you'd like to pop over to my Facebook group and join up and become part of our family, the link will be down below for that. Please feel free to come over. We are a fantastic group of loving people. I say fantastic as if, you know, I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but we are all so loving and so caring. I call you all over in my group my warriors, because each and every day you're fighting an invisible illness that people can't see. So not only are you fighting the illness, you're fighting the people around you, you're fighting work, you're fighting the doctors, you're fighting against medication. You know, you're real warriors. And do you know what? Anybody who can still get up and go to work, I really applaud you for that. I mean, you're a warrior that I wish I could be. But anyway, moving on. I'm just going to ask the questions rather, and hopefully you'll be able to answer them for other people, and we'll see where we go from that. So the first question is, how long have you been diagnosed with fibro? So for me, I was diagnosed last November with fibro, and that was after being sent by a locum at my surgery to a rheumatologist. So I'd waited a couple of months, I'd gone to the appointment and was diagnosed then. So that was last November. So question number 2. When did you start noticing something was wrong? Well, where do I start? I mean, let's be realistic about this. I've always been a sick sort of person, never to the extent that I am now. But really, if I'm honest, I truly noticed that things weren't right whenever I turned 18. I started getting very sick, and then the pain started coming, and I had started working in a nursing home around Christmas. So if we're talking 10 years ago, is what, 2003. So Christmas 2002 was probably around the time that I started noticing the pain coming on. And I thought I'd hurt myself in work, and I left that job then. But I noticed it was around that time that I had went from being a size 10, and within a matter of months I was a size 16 to 18, and it just sort of developed from there. I've never gone any, I mean, I've been up to a size 20 on top, and I think the biggest I've ever been is a size 18 on bottom, 16 to 18, I can't remember. But anyway, so that was around that time I noticed that everything was going downhill for me, and I knew something was wrong. I was then diagnosed with having an underactive thyroid, and I was given painkillers for my back and told to rest up. I was given physio, it didn't change. I was sent for an x-ray back then. They just told me it was muscular. It went from that, and I spent year after year after year going back to the doctors all the time asking for help, and I went from being on 8/500s on cocodamol right up to having tramadol and cocodamol, and then down again, and I was on 30s for, it would be, I was on 30 for a month, and then I was on 15s for a month because they never wanted me to stay on the one. And oh, it was one of those things that it was just a total nightmare for years, and they just kept handing me tablet after tablet no matter how many times I went back, until last year whenever I sat down and I begged them, truly begged them, to really do something, because I just couldn't cope anymore. And it was actually last June that I went to the doctors, and he gave me a sick line for a month. And once again, I was working in a nursing home, and I had said to the people in work, like, I've got this sick line for a month, I just need a rest, I'm not feeling great with the pain and stuff in my back. I had noticed over the couple of months before that the tablets I was on weren't helping the same, it was getting worse. I was taking them more frequent, and I was taking more than I should have. And I was honest with the doctor about that and said, like, I can't go on like this. So anyway, I truly 100% thought that I would be off for about a month and that would be it. I would be able to go back. Here we are a year and a half later, and there's no way I'm going back to work. Anytime soon. I'm not saying that I'll never be able to go back to work, because I say all the time I have faith that eventually I'll be able to work. And even if that's just doing something to do with YouTube and making this my business and somehow earning money through this, I don't know, but I do have faith that I'll be able to do something that makes me work. Does that make sense? I don't know. So question number 3 then is, was your doctor supportive? Yes and no. 2 of the doctors in my surgery have been incredibly supportive, and 2 of them haven't. I've also had a locum who was incredibly superb. He was the one that sent me to the rheumatologist. He was the one that finally, after 6 months, referred me to the rheumatologist and chased it up for me a month later and tried to get me through quicker. And then this year he was the one who also helped with my medication changes. So there's 2 doctors who I go to and they're just like, can't really do anything for you. You're already on this. In fact, there was mixed wires and everything recently with my medication. Ooh. There's mixed wires with my medication at the doctor's, and things went wrong, and they thought I was on something and I wasn't, and oh, it was crazy, absolutely crazy. So anyway, like I said, yes and no. If I was seeing the same doctor every time, I would be making sure that I would be seeing this one doctor in particular, but unfortunately it's not always the case. I do have 2 that are supportive, 1 who is really, really good. So number 4, what medication or treatments are you on, and do they work? Well, okay, for me, at the moment, I am on 15 milligrams of morphine patches, so I have a 10 and a 5. I'm due next week to go up to 20, so I'm going to be on 2 10s for a couple of weeks, and then I'll go up to just 1 20 patch, just so that I can use up what I've got. I also take slow release tramadol, and they're 100s, and I take 2 of those a day. I was on naproxen until recently because I had to come off that because it was really affecting my stomach, and my ulcer, one of my ulcers was back, and it was actually starting to bring another one back. So I went off that. So I have to go back and have a blood test done, and they're going to check that. I may have to go on to antibiotics for that. They're hoping that the omeprazole and the fact that I'm off the naproxen will help build my stomach up again. So as I say, until recently I was on naproxen as well. Now, as for, do they work? No. They take the edge off. Now, obviously, as I said in my previous video, if you've already watched it, if you haven't, the link will be down below. I have overdone it this week, and now today I'm in a lot of pain. I wouldn't normally be in as much pain as I'm in today. As you can see, I'm sort of jerky and everything. I'm really, really incredibly sore. But for the most part, the morphine does take the edge off. I'm able to get out of the house more now that I have the morphine. I was basically stuck in the house all the time whenever I didn't have the morphine, so for the most part it has helped. It is a good combination. I just need to get the right level of morphine for me. I'm hoping that next week, whenever I start on the 20, that it will help. And I could be at a better stage, but we will see. So, number 5 then, what is an average day like for you? An average day for me is waking up around 9 o'clock, after having been awake most of the night, probably to about 3:30, 4 o'clock, dozing off, waking up an hour later to go to the toilet, and then properly getting into sleep and waking up around 9 o'clock and being in agonising pain. Now that's only if I've set my alarm. If I don't set an alarm, I probably won't wake up until about 11:30, 12, and as soon as I do wake up, I'll lie there and I'll be lying with my eyes closed. Before this is a thing, I'll wake up, I won't even have my eyes open yet, and I'll be thinking, okay, where's the pain? What's the most extreme pain? Can I get out of bed? Do I need the toilet? How quickly do I need to get to the bathroom? Because all of those things factor in. If I'm really down to go to the toilet, do I need to wake Thomas up to help me? Can I crawl to the bathroom? Can I make it walking? What sort of state am I in? For the most part, whenever I wake up, it takes me an hour to properly come around because I'm totally out of it. I try and wake up and it doesn't happen right away. If somebody messages me, you're best not messaging me until you know I've been up for a couple of hours, because I doze off every couple of minutes, probably every half a minute whenever I've just woke up. And I say I doze off, I'm not sleeping. It's like I sort of go like this here and then wake up again. And that's what I'm like, just constantly. And if somebody's messaged me and I've seen that on my phone, I'll go to type back. For the most part, they're getting mumbo jumbo from me. So anyway, so say an hour to wake up, and then I'll start doing my stretches. I'll rub my legs, I'll rub my hips, try and loosen things up so that I can properly get out of bed. Generally, it's between an hour and a half to 2 hours from I wake up that I actually get out of bed. So I sort of spend the first hour and a half watching things on YouTube and then trying to get out of bed. If Thomas is here, I get him to make me a cup of coffee so that I can try and get up. Today was really good. He brought me up a bacon sarnie at around 12:30. So once I'm awake then, if I am fit enough to get out of bed, I'll go downstairs, and it really depends on how I feel. If I'm feeling okay, I'll go and grab a bowl of cereal or make a cup of tea and a bit of toast, depending on what I sort of feel like. I'll go in and watch the TV, and once I've finished my breakfast or brunch, whatever you want to call it, because it generally is so late, I'll be sitting watching TV and realise 2 hours later that I've fallen asleep again. And I do that generally regardless if Thomas is there or not. I generally doze off. So most of the time, if I want to go out, I try and make it so that it's not long after, I don't have a lot of time to sit around between getting out of bed and going out. So I have to get showered quite quickly once I'm out of bed and then go out soon after. Otherwise, I will start dozing off again. So I'll have woken up and I'll have realised, okay, it's nearly time for Thomas to get up to go to work, and I'll start preparing stuff for making dinner, and then he'll get up and I'll sit down, and we'll maybe have dinner together. If I'm in too much pain from having made the dinner, he'll do the dishes and everything, and I'll sit and I'll rest, and then I generally sort of help him get his lunch ready for work if I'm fit enough, and make his sandwiches and tea, and then once he's gone, I'll sit on the sofa again and I'll watch some TV, and then I will come up to bed and I'll lie down with my iPad, and I'll have had my medication for bed a couple of hours before, and I'll be lying there, and I will lie with my heat pad underneath, or my hot water bottle underneath my shoulder, and then I'll readjust myself half an hour later to get heat somewhere else. I have my pillows sort of propping me up in different angles so that I can get some sleep in some ways. I play games on my iPad, watch things on YouTube, and that's how I sort of spend the night. And before I know it, it's 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I'm still wide awake. What I try and do is around 12 o'clock I'll turn the iPad off, and I'll lie there for over an hour, and if it doesn't work by then, I'll lift the iPad up again. I try reading, I try doing different things, but it's generally the same most nights. Although I do get to the point where I totally exhaust myself and I will sleep all night, but I'll still wake up totally exhausted and zombified the next day. In fact, normally it's worse than normal. So that would sort of be an average day. That's an average day where I'm feeling okay. you know, that's kind of where it goes. If I wake up and I'm in total agonizing pain, um, if Thomas is, you know, sort of on a work schedule, I will get him to help me out of bed, and I'll bring fluids upstairs and I'll bring it into this room that I'm in now because there's a bed here, and I will lie on that bed. Or if I can make it downstairs, I'll lie on the sofa and I'll spend all day there until he gets up, and he'll make the dinner and get my tablets, and um, I'll just lie there until it's time for bed, and then I'll get into bed just before he leaves for work, and then I'll just lie all night waiting and waiting and waiting to doze off. Um, Gosh, that sounds so so woe is me, doesn't it? Anyway, I hope that all makes sense. So number 6, what is a fibro flare-up like for you? How long does it last, and how often do they come? Well, how often do they come is not, it's sort of whenever you overexert yourself for me. Um, what is a fibro? I keep saying fibro. What is a flare-up like for you? Well, as you guys know, I'm in pain every single day anyway, and it is really quite extreme every day. For me, a flare-up is really whenever I physically cannot get out of bed. My legs are so sore that even just to put my legs on the ground is so agonizing. I am totally and utterly wiped out. I can't keep my eyes open at all whenever I'm in a flare-up. For the first sort of 24 to 48 hours, that's the way a flare-up is for me. I can't stay awake. I'm constantly just dozing off, waking up, dozing off, waking up. Um, and the pain is just so excruciating. I can't even lift things. Thomas can't even touch me. I just cannot bear the pain of somebody trying to even hold me. It's the worst thing because it's the time whenever I need him to help me to the bathroom the most, but it's the time whenever it hurts so much more than anything. And then once that first sort of 24 to 48 hours have passed, it's more the pain. I'm starting to come around. Conscious wise, I've started to come around a wee bit. I'm still in bed. Sort of the third or fourth day, I try and get up and spend the day on the sofa with a spare duvet around me, and just don't really move. You know, I could spend a week solid just lying down, because if I lie down, I'm not in as much pain as if I'm standing or sitting. I would say my flare-ups last between a week and a fortnight, and they will come most often whenever I've totally overdone it. Hopefully I haven't got to that point now where I've overdone it so much. I'm praying with everything that I have within me that I'll wake up tomorrow and I won't be in a flare-up, because this would generally be the point where it would start flaring up for me, because I have done stuff every single day for so long. So when you say how often do they come, it is really whenever I totally overdo it stupidly. So that's it. So number 7 then, how does fibro fog affect you, and do you do anything to try and stop it? Well, for me, fibro fog, as you know, and you can probably see it in this video, my brain is slower. I tend to talk slower whenever I'm really fogged. I do find that 24/7 my brain isn't like it used to be. I forget words, or I jumble things up. Like I was talking about having bruised ribs yesterday, and I was saying my bruises are ribbed. You know, things like that, where in my head they'll sound right coming out, and then I'll hear it back in my head and I'll be like, oh wait, that's not right. Or I'll mix words up, and like the other day I was wanting to know where the paper was, and I was calling it water. Last week with Lynn I was calling something a watermelon. I can't even remember what it was, but I kept saying watermelon even though I knew it wasn't right. And it's things like that that really annoy me. Every day I'm forgetting words that I know, so that's part of the fibro fog for me. But whenever I'm really fogged, I do feel slower. It's like a cloudy feeling in my head. I don't quite feel 100%. Sometimes it's almost like a drunk feeling. Then other times it's like a hungover feeling without, the banging headache pain. Um, but I do find that as well as that, I'm very, very forgetful. I have a really, really bad short-term memory. Things I did to try and stop it. I was trying to do quizzes and stuff and play games more. I love song pop because it's something that makes you think. I have to listen to a song and choose between four, and it's all about bringing your memories and things like that is really good. There's games on phones called Four Picks One Word. That's something really good because you really have to think about it. I find games like that are really good to try and stimulate your brain and make it work. And I do find that sometimes that is really, really helpful to bring you out of a fog. Doesn't help every time, but sometimes that is really good. So it might be worth a try if it's not something that you already do. I also find planning for videos like this here is really good, so that it's got my brain working. The beauty ones more so because I have to sit and think about what I'm going to talk about. Like, am I going to do a tutorial? Am I going to do a haul? Am I going to do a review? And things like that. And I'll write information down, and I spend a lot of time during the week planning for the following week and writing information down so that I can remind myself and things that I want to get and bits and pieces like that. So things like that really help to stimulate my brain. Pardon me. Number 8, do you have any advice or tips for anyone waiting to be diagnosed or who has just been diagnosed? My biggest piece of advice is get yourself support. And I don't mean from your family or friends, I mean a support group where you can talk about your condition with other people who understand, and whether you have fibro or lupus or ME or MS or sciatica or any form of chronic pain, whether it's a repetitive strain injury, arthritis, um, whatever it is, you need to be in contact with people who understand what you're going through. And I don't mean to spend every single day talking about how things are so awful, because I recommend that you don't do that. I recommend you talk about things that are good in your life as well, so that you can build each other up and not be dwelling on how horrible things are. Because living with chronic pain can really cause depression. It is a big symptom in anybody who has chronic pain, are susceptible to being depressed, which you can understand. I mean, it's a hard thing to live with without getting depressed about it. But if you dwell on it every day and that's all you talk about with the people in the support group or wherever you're going, it is going to make you more susceptible to the depression. So I also recommend that whenever you're going for diagnoses or anything, if you're married or have a partner, bring them with you so that they can hear what the doctor has to say. Firstly, because you don't always remember everything that they say, and second of all, it's so that they can hear it direct from the doctor's mouth, and if they have any questions they can ask as well, because sometimes it's hard for the partners to understand what you're going through and how they can help. So bring them with you. Another thing that I find is really good is to get people to read. Find a website that's really good. Something that I find is really good is the spoon theory, and I find a lot more people think about it whenever they're talking to me now. They think about the spoon theory and how many spoons I have, and is this a no spoon day? Is this a multiple spoon day? Am I doing okay? That sort of thing. But find yourself somewhere that you can direct people to so that they can read. Encourage them to find out more about your condition, so that they can understand you. Friends, family, maybe even your boss if you still work, because you want the people around you that you see the most to understand why you have to cancel things, why you talk the way you do, why you're in constant pain and that sort of thing. It is really, really important that the people around you know what you're going through and aren't just walking through it blind and not understanding, because a lot of the time it makes you worse whenever people don't understand what you're going through. I've just realised there's a chip in my ear cup. That's boring. That's boring. That's not good. If you guys can think of any more advice, brilliant. I have one more question to ask, and this is from Renee. And her question is, do any of you guys have issues with your tongue being sore? Hang on, let me just get this right. Your tongue being sore and affecting the roof of your mouth. And for me, I find that a lot of the time my tongue is really tense and it's stuck to the roof of my mouth, and or I'm clenching my teeth and things like that. So let's see. Right, okay, so this is what Renee sent to me. Hey Han, you asked me if there was anything I wanted to know about for filming. Well, I have a question. Could you maybe ask during one of your vids, and sorry, it says I have a question you could maybe ask during one of your vids, and it's if anyone else suffers with a tense tongue that won't relax and is often pushed tense against the roof of your mouth. She says it often makes my tongue feel sore. Just wondered if anybody else suffers with this. I do. I find a lot of the time that I am sitting and my tongue's really tense and it's pushing against my mouth, or my teeth are clenched and things like that. I get a sore jaw through this as well. So it's something that I've only really noticed the past wee while. I haven't actually ever talked to the doctor about it, but I was thinking about getting a gum shield as well for whenever I'm sleeping, so that it's not I'm not putting myself through that pain as much whenever I'm sleeping. So if you can answer that, if you have that as well. So that's question number 9 then. So guys, please feel free to respond to these questions here, or you can send me an email, and the link for my email will be below, as well as you can pop over to my Facebook page. Please feel free to answer these questions, or direct anybody else here that maybe wants some help with their fibro or any of the other conditions that they've got, and they can see the responses that other people have maybe put here. So apart from that, guys, I'm going to head on. I think I've said everything that I want to ask and put out there for myself. So I will see you on next Wednesday for another Fibro edition, or Friday and Monday for more beauty stuff. I have a couple of hauls and some more reviews for you. I also have some tutorials coming up soon as well, guys. So I'm sending you all so much love from me to you, and I hope you all have a pain-free night and a restful sleep. So I will see you all soon. Love yous. Mwah. Bye.